Good morning. Welcome to the tea house here with me, Phil, and
hello, good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a good morning. Hope you've got a cup of tea. So my name's Helen, and we are Discover Tai Chi, if you've not joined us before, and we teach evidence-based Tai Chi.
yeah, so if you haven't been with us before, we are very much interested in the research that shows that Tai Chi has some certain benefits for us. This is an informal live stream, so we're going to have a bit of chat and give you some news updates. We're going to find out who's with us as well. So I'm just going to go to the comments and see who we've got joining us. Do say hello in the comments, even if you're watching again, because we do pick up on comments. And if you have any questions for Helen or for me, then please do just pop them in there and we'll answer them. What have we got on today, Hel?
So we're going to have a nice easy start, do some warm-up movements, get us into our joints, into our bodies, help us relax and feel our feet. And then we're going to do some Ba Fa Wu Bu.
Yeah, right? So we've been doing the Ba Fa Wu Bu, the 8 methods, 5 steps Tai Chi form, the new official Tai Chi form from China for the past 6 months or so since we really started these live streams, and we've really focused on the 8 methods or the Ba Fa elements. Now we're going to start to look at the Wu Bu, or 5 steps or 5 directions. There's various ways of translating that Ba element of the Wu part of Wu Bu. So Wu means 5, Bu means step or direction. So we're going to explore those now. So hopefully those hand movements are in there, but we'll see what happens when we get going. We've got a few people joining us, so let's say hello to Dorothy. Hi, Dorothy. Good to have you with us. And Jill. Who else have we got?
We've also got Maggie with us. Hi, Maggie. Hey. And we've also got Ali. So hello, folks. Hope you're all well. And it is a glorious morning up here in West Yorkshire, isn't it? So those of you, I know not everyone is in West Yorkshire, but yeah, we've got a little bit of blue sky, which is lovely, isn't it? We've had some really overcast days, but we've got blue skies. We've got gorgeous autumn leaves. So we might have a little bit of an autumn leaf theme as well in our warm-ups.
Yeah, so little bits of news. We're not much really to say. So hey, Alison, good to have you with us. First little bit of news is, let's find a little banner. We have a new email address. It should be, which way? That way. Hard to orientate yourself there. New email. So we've been using an email via Gmail called Hung Tung Wellbeing. It's a bit of a mouthful, so we decided we're going to have a simpler, hopefully easier to remember and type in email. So we're still using Hung Tung Wellbeing, so that will no doubt be in your email address books. You can still use that one. But if you want to start using this new one, info@discovertaichi.uk, please do. We'll be slowly transitioning all our kind of email links across there. So don't worry, we're not going to suddenly cut off Hung Tung Wellbeing. Do use that one to get in touch. But over the period of about 6 months, we hope to be fully integrated with our new email address. So that's the first little bit of news. If you want to write that down, there it is. I'll pop it in the comments as well, so it's there for you to use. We've also been on this ongoing work with our website, and it's now live. Doesn't mean it's finished or absolutely polished as we would like it, but it is now actually live. And it is now pointing to our domain name, discovertaichi.uk. So feel free to have a look around. As I say, we've still got bits and bats to do on there, and we're beginning to get the courses up and live. And so do have a look around and do let us know what you like and maybe what things aren't quite working, because sometimes we won't know until you guys get back in touch and go, oh, so far it seems to be working, but yeah, we can never really tell until you guys start road testing it. Any other news, Hel?
No, we're yeah, that's it. We've had a busy week just getting on with our website, so nothing else to report. And yeah, you'll be hearing from us soon via the newsletter, as always. And yeah, if you have not signed up to the newsletter yet, please do head over to the website. You can sign up from there.
Yes.
Our timetable is on the website, so any of those of you who would like to join a Zoom class or even a face-to-face class, if you're close enough, you can do that. Go to the website, look at our timetable, and all the options are on there. So, and not to forget, we still do have the store. So anyone that wants t-shirts or sweaters, we've got some nice hoodies, hoodies. Those are all still via the timetable.
Yeah, we'll put links.
Counterintuitively, but we'll put links to that in the.
Yeah, once Helen gets going, I might start posting links in the comments box to all that stuff that we've mentioned. Have you guys got any questions before we begin to get moving? We've got a few more people. Who've we got, Hel?
So hello, Anne. Good morning to you. And we've also got Jean. Good morning, Jean. Hello.
Hi, Jean. You're a bit of an internet star now, Jean, because you're on Zoom and also our live streams. So it's lovely to have you with us.
We know you've conquered both worlds.
Yes.
YouTube and Zoom. No mean feat. Well done. Okay.
Right. So if there's nothing else, let's get moving. So Helen's going to do some movements with you, and then I'm going to come back. And as I said, we've been exploring Ba Fa Wu Bu, and Ba Fa is the 8 methods or 8 principles. Wu Bu is the 5 steps. We've really focused on those 8 methods. Now we're going to start to look at the 5 directions or 5 steps. Okay, it's not that we're going to forget the 8 methods. In fact, we're going to do a little bit of revision starting from today. So we're going to actually go through the first and second sequence again, just in a bit more detail for folks. So we'll do that and we'll look at the 5 steps. So again, if you have any questions, that would be a good time to get them in. Right, are you ready, Hel?
I'm ready to go. So as always, folks, make yourself a little bit of space. You can stay seated. You can stand if you prefer. It's up to you. Always stay within your safe and comfortable range of motion. So that's different from everybody. And Tai Chi is very much about an exploration. It's about journey. It's about looking to see what we can on our journey, not about rushing to some end point. So always explore the movements, see what feels better. Try seated if you normally stand, try standing if you normally sit, for if you would like to try that. So yeah, just have a go at what you feel like you would like to have a go at. So we're going to get moving.
Yep, I'll get out of the way. I will join you soon.
So I'm going to get going. There we are. Right, okay, so hopefully you can see my feet if you are standing. I'm going to make ourselves a little bit of space. So I've cleared my space, and I'm going to think nice and tall with my standing. So if you're seated, you also want to have this idea of being nice and tall through the torso and planted with the feet. So we try and be planted down through our torso into the ground, into the feet, and down through our feet into the floor. So I'm going to have a little walk on the spot just to get the circulation moving. And now I'm going to swish my hands as if they're in paint pots and give them a swirl around. I'm going to change direction, making circles. . And again, changing direction, nice and easy, slowing down to Tai Chi speed, taking our time to really feel our shoulders, feel our lower back, relax down through the feet. Maybe have a little squeeze of the toes onto the floor or a little wiggle if you sat down, just to feel in good contact. So I'm going to have hands as jellyfish. So nice and soft hands, as if they're jellyfish, getting into flowing, fluid hands, this idea of fluidity. Hands as jellyfish. Okay, let's roll shoulders. So, little roll, easing the foot. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see me better. I'm going to roll the shoulders. And again, take a nice easy breath. Keep relaxing. Nice, natural, even. Then we're going to change direction and use my shoulder blades and pull them together. Get the idea of rolling my shoulders back. Now I'm going to roll alternate shoulders. So again, always stay within safe, easygoing, comfortable range of motion where we can relax. It's almost like a tiger moving carefully forward. They're very relaxed, nice and easygoing. And I've never seen a tiger like this if it did. So rolling back shoulders in direction. Easy, relaxed, we can make that movement. Let's have another little walk of the feet. A little jellyfish relax of the hands. So imagine that we're a tree. We're going to have nice sturdy roots into the ground. We might want to wiggle our toes to make sure we're well planted in the ground. We've got a sturdy base and a sturdy trunk.
Can you check your...
Yeah. So apologies, just checking sound. So,
yeah.
Okay. Okie dokie. Apologies, we've got problems with sound, so I will do a bit less talking. I think I have problems with my mic. So here we go. Picking up hands. Soften down. So we want to be nice and easy. With those movements, as gentle as leaves falling from the trees. Have a little walk. Okay, we're going to do a nice easy movement called hold the ball. First of all, holding the ball in front of us and just rolling that ball, keeping the shoulders relaxed and down. We let the elbows be heavy. And when you've got that sense of rolling the ball over in your hands, Then we can begin to have a little turn, and it's very small. The aim is to be relaxed, to be loose through the movement. And then we come back just for a moment. And again, imagine leaves just dropping from the trees. We settle down. Have a little movement. So we're going to do a nice easy movement we know as the fountain. And in this movement, go as far as feels comfortable for your shoulders. So we're going to be lifting the hands and shoulders above the head. If you know your shoulders don't like that movement, or the back, just go as far as feels comfortable for you. So never any pressure. Here we go. Nice. I've got a slightly wider stance to help my balance. And if we're seated, just beginning with our hands and our laps, we can lift them up, turn the palm out. And if it's comfortable, we look up towards the fingertips or past the fingertips. And then we imagine we've got the whole world in our arms. We let the little finger edge slide down. And again, we pick up the hands, turn the palms out, and let the little finger edge slide down, nice and easy. So again, nice, easy, natural breath. Relax through the back, relax down through the feet. Let's go a couple more times. Again, you might want to imagine leaves falling in their own time from the tree. And down. Okay, we'll do one more movement, and then we will let Phil come and do Bafar Wubu. So let's get our ankles warmed up. If you're standing, you may want to use a bit of support. You may want to use a wall. You may want to use the back of a chair. If you're seated, you're all good and ready to go. So going to balance on one foot, have a little wiggle of the ankle, give it a little shake, and then foot carefully down, shift the weight, and have a little balance. So you decide if you need to use something to balance again. I've got a wall here. We're just going to do little ankle circles just to loosen up our ankles. So in your own time, warming, getting used to those ankles, having a little roll around. Here we go, on the spot. So Phil's going to come over. Here we go.
Hello guys. Right, Bafar Wubu. We've spent many months now, 6 months or so, exploring the first half, all of which are Bafar Wubu. The first half, or the first part, has us stand, or we've been sitting in place as we just practice those 8 different hand and arm movements. Those are the 8 principles. And now we're going to start to look at the 5 steps or the 5 directions. So, some caveats. We're talking about steps now, whereas before we've been stood or sat in place. Now we are going to actually do some movements. In this first lesson, we're just going to explore those directions with some simple steps. That's all we're going to do today. Plus, we're going to start revising from the beginning those hand movements, the 8 principles or 8 methods or 8 techniques. There's so many translations for this. So Ba-Fa means 8 methods, Wu-Bu 5 steps. So let's look at the 5 directions. So I'm facing the camera, I'm stood in place, and we could say the first direction is here, right in the middle. And then if we take a line directly forward towards the camera, there's the first direction. It's a movement forward, okay? So it doesn't prescribe so much the kind of step. The direction is perhaps a more accurate way of putting it. So we've got going forwards. So that probably means that there's going to be going backwards. So we're moving in a backward direction from the center where we start from. So forwards and backwards. Then it kind of is logical for us to think about my right, moving to the right, and moving to the left. So we've got 4 directions in which we can travel, and there's also returning to the center where we began. We'll explore this because things change. We've explored this in class before COVID-19 came to visit in terms of how directions and centers change accordingly as we move on the ground. But that's probably a bit much for this first lesson, but I just want to give you a heads up that we'll explore that as we move on. So does that make sense? 4 directions starting from a center point where we are stood. So let's explore moving forward, and we're going to use our bow stance to do so. Nice solid stance, both feet are going to be flat on the floor. It's the stance that we use for brush knees, for instance, in Yang style, or even a Chen style movement. Not so much Sun style, although Ba-Fa Wu-Bu does have Sun style or follow steps in there, so look out for those when we get to them. Right, so let's take this left leg of yours, okay? I'm not going to mirror. Turn it out 45 degrees, okay? And then we're going to bring our weight across onto that leg, let the knee flex a little bit, and then we're just going to slide our right foot forward. We've taken a pace forward, and then let's just settle into that stance. And we're going to bring a bit more weight onto that front leg, but we've still got good contact with the ground with this back leg. The knee is has a little bit of flex in there, but we're slightly more forward. I guess if we were to do a ratio, we're about 60-40. So 60-40, there's a bit more emphasis, 60% forward. And we're down through the stance. And I've taken a step forward. And I can return back to the center, sometimes called neutral. So that's one direction with one leg. Let's do the other side. So this is my right leg. Turn it out 45 degrees. Bring my weight across. Going to take a pace forward. Left leg. Both feet are down. And then I'm bringing about 60% of my weight forward. You should feel that through the knee, through the ankle, through the hip. Pelvis is kind of slightly off at an angle, not absolutely square at this point. And again, slight flex in the knee here. Okay. Lovely. let's go backwards, okay? Be careful with your steps going backwards. Make sure you're not going to bump into anything or anyone or the dog or the cat or a rug or anything like that. Obviously, if you are sat down and watching, it's all academic. You're nice and safe on a seat. But if you are actually going through these steps with me, do just be mindful that we're stepping backwards and we're not really looking behind. So we keep the front foot, in this case it's going to be the right leg, toes forward. Okay, so when we stepped forward, we turned the toes out to get us moving. Here we keep the toes forward and we're going to take this left leg directly back. Toes go down, heel goes down, and then we transfer our weight and we're 60% backwards. So we've got more weight on this left leg, but we've still got a little bit of flex in this front knee. So a bit different from what you might have been used to in our classes. Both feet flat on the ground. We can't really do it with this prosthetic foot, come up into a cat stance, i.e. the ball of the foot and the heel is raised, but it's still 60-40, but now the 60% is backwards. Hope that makes sense. And then we can come forwards. Let me just see what you're saying, Jana. Can't see the right foot. There you go. Thanks, Jana. I'm a bit too far forward, aren't I? So hopefully you can see my feet now. My apologies, I should have checked. So let's go backwards once more. I will just double check. I'm not going to crash into anything. Weight onto that right leg. Take a pace back. Toes go down. Heel goes down. Weight goes back. And we're about 60-40 with that 60% slightly further back. Okay. And then forwards through bow stance to step back. So I'm just going to go through that with the right leg stepping backwards. We put a bit more weight on the left leg. We take a pace back, toes go down. At this point, there's more weight on this front leg. Heel goes down, and then I'm drawing my weight back, and I'm sat on this back leg. Again, I could lift the heel, excuse my balance on the prosthetic, and we're in a cat stance. Put the heel down, forwards, back to the center. Okay, let me go through those steps going forward, just in case I was chopping my feet off, just for you once more. Turn out the left toes. Move your weight in the direction of the toes and then take a pace forward. Foot goes flat. And then our weight comes forward. 60% more on the front leg. Both feet flat on the floor. We've created a bridge. Here's one half of the bridge. There's the second half, called a dang. Let's go back. So think of creating bridge-like structures with your legs. Let's do the opposite side. Turn out the right foot, slide that left foot forward, both feet flat on the ground. 60% of your weight goes forward. Make sure the knee is directly over the foot. Try not to allow the knee to fall in. You see, if it falls in, we've lost the structure of our bridge. Make sure the knee is over the foot and the hip is also, sometimes we end up with hips going out as well, or going in. You see the difference? We just want a nice straight line from the foot, knee, hip and shoulder. So we have a straight line or a pillar. Draw back. Okay. So we've done forwards, backwards. Let's go from side to side. I'll make sure my feet are able to stay in shot. So it's 5 steps is the simple translation, but I think it's better to think in terms of directions rather than steps, because we can move forwards, backwards, left and right, using different steps. One of the steps that we're going to use in the Bao Fa Wu Bu is a side step. So we're going to bring our weight across onto the right leg. I'm going to take a little pace, toes down, heels down, and then I'm transferring weight across, and I'm going to take a pace in, and I come to quite a closed stance. My feet are closed, the knees are bent, and the hips are going backwards, so I'm taking a little sit, so to speak. Yeah? Let's reverse that. Take a step back and back to the center. Okay? Let's go the opposite direction. So I'm stepping to my right, weight on the left leg, ball of the foot down, heel down, and then we transfer weight, but we bring the feet not quite together, but they're close. Okay? Something different from what we've done in class. Different kind of step. And then we step back and we return to our hip width stance. Let's go once more to my left. I'm not mirroring. Weight on my right leg, ball of the foot, heel down, transfer that weight, sit. Okay. Come back, transfer weight, back to the center. Once more to my right, so weight onto the left, ball of the foot. Notice that I'm now down in my stance. Try not to rise up. So we now come across and I'm in the stance when I arrive. Try to avoid, I'm just reversing things, try to avoid this. See the difference? I kind of went across and down. Whereas in fact, what I want to do is go down and then stay down. Make sense? So that's 4 directions. We have a follow step, but I'm going to save that because that requires a bit of a turn and it puts quite a bit of load. For those of you who were joining Helen and me for the Sun Style 21 and 41, you'll be familiar with this step and turn. I'll just demonstrate, but I'm not going to go into detail. So I'm stepping and turning into a follow step. Yeah. Lots of external and internal rotation going on at the hip joint. We don't want to be teaching you that just yet. We want to build you up to that. And if you've got any kind of hip ailments, or you may have even had a hip replacement, then it's a movement that we need to be mindful of as well. And in some cases, we might even say, let's not do it. We don't recommend that movement of external rotation. Depends on how the hip replacement was done, but it's one to be mindful of. So if you are watching this and you're thinking, oh, we're going to be doing some of those kinds of turns and steps, it might be worth just double checking with your doctor if that's going to be okay for you. All depends on the time since you had the operation and also how that operation was undertaken. So that's not information I can help you with. That's something you need to check out. But we just need to be mindful that that turn and with weight on the hip is a big load going through that hip while we're asking it to rotate as well. So it's just a little caveat there for you. I've got a dodgy hip, but I haven't had it replaced. But even for me, I have to be mindful of how I load this right hip of mine. So those are our 5 directions. We're going to keep revisiting those and we're going to build up our repertoire of steps. And then we're going to start to bring the hand movements that we've learnt with Bao Fa Wu Bu into those steps. So let's remind ourselves, okay? I'm going to face the camera. We start off with Qi Shi to raise power. Looks simple, is simple, but there's lots of qualitative aspects in here that we can really use to our advantage. So first of all, a little downward movement, just slightly, to then enable us to rise up. Backs of the wrists lead, fronts of the wrists lead on the down, as well as the elbows as we settle back down. Let's do that again. You may wish to have a breath in. Brings a little bit of buoyancy, and then you can just breathe easy on the down. So by itself, it's a lovely movement. Just breath in, let the breathing go, and just breathe naturally, and we're down. So that in itself is a lovely, we could say, Qigong movement, just to get ourselves going. Sit on the edge of the bed if you've woken up and just do 3 Qi Shi movements. Once you've got stood up and moving, do some stood up as well. Remember, there's a little flex, a little sit down, and then a little rise as we do so. Depending on the style, depending on the teacher, they'll emphasize the depth and the means by which you do that. We were doing Chen style. Yeah, we go down. Even Yang style, we go down quite a bit deeper. If you feel up to that, do so. But again, be mindful of knees and hips, ankles. And that's up to you to kind of make an informed decision in terms of your range of motion. It's always good to try and expand the range of motion, but do so with a bit of common sense. So there's Qi Shi. So we've done our Qi Shi. We come down. I'm not going to mirror. We're going to hold our ball. So we create the ball, right hand on top. Helen was doing this in the movements before we got started with this form. And then we're going to carry it slightly to the right. Make sure we don't turn too far. There's often a tendency for people to turn and carry the ball way off to the side. Notice that my hands are in a line with my foot, knee, hip, and shoulder. Basic principle of Tai Chi and all Chinese martial arts for that matter is hands in a line with foot, knee, hip, shoulder. Okay, that's as far as we need to go. Let's practice that one more time. We'll do Qi Shi and that hand the ball movement. And again, we'll point out a little learning point for you as well. So here we go together. 1, 2, 3, down. Up we go. Qi Shi, maybe with a breath in. Down we come. Right hand on top. There's the ball. Make sure that ball is, let me turn, not too close. If it was a real ball, we wouldn't have room. If it's a decent size, make sure it's not too far away. Just so. Elbows relaxed. As I turn slightly, there's the hands in a line with the hips, knees, shoulder, and foot. Make sure this knee, the left knee, hasn't fallen or caved in. Can you see that? I've broken my stance. The bridge has basically twisted and collapsed. We want to have the knees over the foot. So when we practice this stance, horse riding stance, the knees are being encouraged to remain over the foot. So you have to have a sense of gentle pressure out. Some teachers will talk about imagining having a ball between the knees. I sometimes wonder if that gives us the wrong cue, as in it makes us think of squeezing in. What do you think? I think it's kind of a wrong cue. I don't think we've got any Thera-Bands knocking about, have we, Helen? He says, asking to the kitchen. Let's have a look. So we want to make sure the knees stay where they are. We're driving from the legs, but the knees don't fall in. Here comes a Thera-Band. Stage right. I've got a Thera-Band loop. I'm going to try and put it on and not fall over. There you go. If you can get a Thera-Band loop, they come in different grades. Be mindful of putting it on because it's a bit tricky, but I've now got to keep the tension in the Thera-Band, okay, which means that my knees have to be going outward. So I prefer this as a cue rather than a ball being held between the knees. I'm having to keep a bit of tension in there, which means that my muscles in the lateral part of the hips, the glute medius and minimus, the abductors, are having to work outwards. So that can be a good cue if you have one. You may have one at home. If you've ever done physiotherapy, you're often using these Thera-Bands. I'm going to take that off before I fall over. You can get them in supermarkets and Argos and online. They come in different grades. Generally, the darker the band, the heavier or stronger it is. So you might want to be aiming for something a bit lighter than a blue. Okay, maybe a green, maybe a yellow, or even an orange. Okay, but that gives us the idea. Let's have a go one more time. Let me have a look. Okay, Anne's got off. Take care, Anne. Let's go again. Chi from the beginning, and then I'll hold the ball. But let's just be mindful of that stance. Even if you sat down, you can practice this to make sure that your legs are engaged and they're firmly on the ground, and that you're using the ground to help initiate the movement. So, Chi. Hold that ball. Carry it to the right and just make sure that we've kept that stance. Bridge has maintained its structure. The knee can travel forward a little bit, so there's a little turn, but we're in essence bracing through the stance. Next part is to squeeze down, top hand, squeezes the ball, it presses the back of the left hand away, and we press down. This hand is at hip height. This hand is at heart height. Well, definitely no higher than shoulder height. Try not to have it in front of your face. There. It's called ward off. Okay, we can reverse this movement. So we can bring the left hand back. We pick up the right hand. We hold the ball. And then we carry it back to the center. So we're going to practice reversibility, the ability to retrace our steps through a movement. Once again, let's go to the right, carry the ball, not too far. Press down with the right hand and squeeze that left hand away. Back of the hand. Reverse. So bring that movement back. Imagine that we rewind a film and we just come back to the center. It's called reversibility. It's a really good way of learning a motor skill or a movement skill. We have to do it in little bits though. It's more difficult to do with a long sequence, but if we do little bits, it can be very helpful. One more time. Turn, not too far. Squeeze away the left hand. Right hand comes down to a tabletop or a worktop. Hip height. Back of the left hand pressed away. Okay, it's called ward off. and then reverse. So we bring that left hand back. And then we can just relax. Just have a little kick out if you've been stood there with me, just to shake things off. Remember, Ba Fa Wu Bu, one of the reasons why we like it so much is that it's a symmetrical form. Everything that we do on one side is going to be repeated on the left. If you wish to practice what we've just done on the left side, you can do. Let's just have a couple of goes. So we're just going to pick up the ball. Left hand on top. Carry it to the left. Make sure we keep the structure of the bridge created by our stance. Left hand squeezes down, pushes the back of the right hand away, and we've got the left hand down on a worktop at hip height. Okay? And then we can reverse that movement, bring that right hand underneath as we lift the left hand, carry the hands back to the center, and we're at the beginning. Let's do that again. Turn to the left this time. Squeeze the left hand down, press the right hand away. Ooh, I was going to sneeze then, caught it. And then bring those hands back. And then back to the center. And down. Okay? So, we're just going to do each week a little revision of the movements of Ba Fa as we go on. But for those of you who have actually been learning with me for these past 6 months, now's an opportunity to follow along. I'm going to do it 2 different ways. One's going to face the camera first of all, and then the second time I'm going to turn and face away. You can do so sat down, okay? Or we can do so stood up. So if you've been stood up with me and you're going, oh, my legs are tired, just sit down. Sit forward in a chair and use your postural muscles to keep your torso upright, but without tension. Feet flat on the floor. I'm going to stay stood up. So feet hip width, maybe shoulder width apart. We're going to start with Qi and we're going to go through the movements. I'm not going to mirror. In fact, if you want to mirror, you have a go, okay? That's another good movement skill for you, is to actually mirror me. So instead of me mirroring you guys, you have a go at mirroring me, if you wish. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. First half of Ba Fa Wu Bu is just the hand movements in horse riding stance. Here's that ward off movement. And then we roll back again, down to the hips. Pick up the hands, press. And then we're into push. And then we're into a grip and pull. And then a sweep of the hands forward, directly forward. And then here's the elbow strike and shoulder strike. Now we've completed everything on the right side. We pick the ball up. That's where we were. If you remember a few moments ago, carry it not too far to the left. And once again, we're into ward off. Roll back. Press. Push. Little turn to the right. Pull down to the left. Notice everything comes down to hip height. Sweep the hands. We've got the left hand palm up and the right palm is facing outward. Okay, like so. So we've swept around and then right elbow strike, left elbow, shoulder I should say. And then we can finish with a little cross of the hands and down. Okay, so that was facing the camera. Did you mirror? Doesn't matter if you didn't, but if you did have a go at mirroring, let me know how it got on. You'll see how tricky it is for me when I'm teaching a class and then talking from your perspective. So now I'm going to start off with the right shoulder and go through Ba Fa Wu Bu again, okay? So give you a different direction and a different orientation so you can follow along. Right shoulder, hip width, shoulder width stance, on 3, 1, 2, 3, off we go. Qi Shi. Into, ward off, roll back, press, push. So we're using our legs, but we're not breaking the stance or the bridge. We keep the structure. I've swept the hands. I'm going to turn just so you can see. You don't have to do that bit. So as the elbow, left elbow, shoulder, still got the stance. Pick up the ball, and now I'm going to turn left shoulder. You stay where you are. And once again, we're into ward off. Roll back, press, push, pull down to that left hip, sweep the hands. Let me turn again. So I've swept the hands, right elbow, left shoulder, and then a finish. Crossing hands and down. There we go. Ba Fa Wu Bu. We've explored the directions, forwards, backwards, right and left, in the center, and we've started to take some steps in those directions as well. As I said, think about them more as directions rather than particular steps. There are prescribed steps for Ba Fa Wu Bu within this, but when I was learning, you can step in those directions in a multiplicity of ways. So, but Ba Fa Wu Bu introduces us to this concept of 5 directions in which we can move, okay? So, have a little practice. Don't forget you can watch again so that you can review some of the learning points that we've explored this morning. If you've got any questions as well, don't forget to put them in the comments, and Helen and I will answer those. We've told you about our new email address, info@discovertaichi.uk, so you can start to use that one to get in touch with us. Our old email is still relevant, hungtungwellbeing@gmail.com. It's just that we want a shorter, snappier, easier, more professional looking email. So that's the reason for that change. Our website is live. Still got a few bits and bats to sort out with the look and the feel and the way you explore it, but it's live. So feel free to check out discovertaichi.uk and tell us what you think. Tell us if there's any sticking points or anything that's just not quite absolutely clear, and we'll make sure that we can adjust that based on your feedback. If you've really liked this live stream that we're doing for free, do feel like giving us a coffee maybe. You can visit coffee.com/discover Tai Chi and buy us a coffee. We love coffee, me and Helen. It keeps us going through the day. So if you fancy buying us a coffee, this is a great way of doing so. And look out for more on the website. As I say, we're building more courses in there, and 2 of those courses are live at this point. If you've enjoyed today, do let us know. And as I said, give us some questions. We'll be back next Tuesday. We're live on a Zoom class tomorrow here from the Tea House. So if you want to join us for our Tai Chi Foundations program, you can do so. The timetable, once again, is in the horizontal bar on the website. I think that's everything I need to say. Lovely to have you with us this morning. And if you are watching again, do say hello. It's great to know where you are in the world watching us later. So I'm going to end this live stream. I have to head over to the laptop and say thank you very much. And we'll catch you next time. So thank you guys. Take care. Have a good day. And we'll see you again.